and welcome to Dan's solo game thing. We're back finally after a little bit of an absence from this series, and finally, we're back with Final Girl. Um, and I guess finally, we're actually doing the bird scenario, which I'd wanted to do on camera for quite some time. This is actually the Terror from Above vignette expansion, which is, of course, based on Alfred Hitchcock's movie The Birds. Um, with this vignette, you don't get a new setting. Instead, you can use any setting from any of the other feature film boxes, and I chose Camp Happy Trails. Um, you also don't get a villain board. Instead, the birds have basically just a couple of cards to indicate their dark powers and their bloodlust track and all of that. And you also get an original Final Girl, Melanie. So we're using her. You can use any of them, of course. Melanie is, of course, visually largely based on Tippi Hedren's character from The Birds, with especially the clothes and the hairstyle. A little bit of a Scarlett Johansson thing going, too. Scarlett actually was in that Hitchcock biopic from, the late 2000s, early 2010s or so. Although she didn't play Tippi Hedren, she was Janet Leigh, as I recall. Anyway, Melanie herself here has 5 starting health, so kind of average there. 6 victims to unlock her final ability, so a bit of a challenge in that, although her saving those victims do have some pretty good rewards. And once per action phase, when you unlock her final, she can lose 1 health to deal 2 damage divided as you choose among enemies in your space. So that's certainly useful against the birds, but could also be useful potentially against Geppetto. For each victim saved after unlocking her final, she also gets 1 health back. Anyway, the birds start out with a single bird on each space that's not occupied by either the Final Girl or a victim. The killer space indicated on the setup, and I drew the capture the flag setup, gets 3 birds starting on it. I also drew as my starting event Clingy Campers. So every victim that I try to save after the first on each turn costs me 1 health. That's not great, especially with 6 required to unlock my final. And I think that's about it. We do have an axe available at the docks, so getting that weapon probably would be a good priority. So I think we'll get started. So I have my dice over here. And I'm rolling for a walk. I know I haven't revealed my cards yet, but I do have a walk here, and I got a double success on that, so I can move up to 2 spaces for 1 time. I'm gonna go 1. I actually want to get to the dock, so I'll dive into the water here. And that resolves that. Then I'll go ahead and use the other walk, I think, to try to get myself fully to the docks. So there we go. Partial success. I can move 1 space, which is what I needed. And I'll use the weak attack to try to wipe out the bird that's on my space here. So I can do 1 damage at the cost of 1 health, or I can discard another card. I think I'll discard the short rest to turn this into 2 successes. So take out this bird at the docks, and then on the next turn I can search to pick up an item. So I'll call my action phase there. I have actually... yeah, I have 4 time left to work with. So I'll grab a search, and I'll grab a sprint since I used both of my walks on the last turn. Alright, so we're now up to the villain phase. Let's put these back on the market for next turn. So the birds get an attack. They attack victims only if there are 3 or more birds on the space with the victims. They attack the final girl regardless. Fortunately, this turn that doesn't actually affect anything because the victims are still separated from the birds, and I wiped out the bird on my space. So for the terror card, they're trying to get in. We have the horror level going up by 1, and instead of spawning birds as normal, so we do spawn birds, but instead of spawning them as normal, I roll 1 dice and place that many birds on the nearest utility space, which is 3, and I suppose since I'm on the docks, by default, I end up with 3 birds with me, so that's not great. Fortunately, they don't get another attack this turn at least. So I think with that, we're back at the top of the order. So for the first part of this turn, I'll use my search and try to pick up that axe that's at the docks. Well, I can discard something to, discard, I guess, one of the focuses, or foci, to turn that into a partial success. So I still lose a time, and I can pick up the axe. There we go. That is expended. I will then use the focus that I still have to try to bring the horror level down, since it did come up on that last turn. Nice, I get some time back. So, double success there. And then I have a sprint, which is probably not a bad idea to try using, even though it blows out the rest of my hand. So, we have a single success, so I can move 2 spaces on that. I think that'll work, actually. I can move 1 and 2 to between these 2 victims here. And that's all I can do. So, for the planning phase, I get my 0 costs back. I actually have 7 time to work with. So I'll grab the other sprint and the other search for 4. And I still have 3, so I'll grab a guard for 2 and a close call for 1. So that goes back up to 6. These go back on the market. Search here, sprint here. Okay. And it's now time for the monsters phase. So again, it doesn't look like we have any birds attacking this turn, fortunately, but we do spawn them. So let's see. I could either spawn with a 2 and a 6. I could spawn either 6 birds on any single space, or I could do 2 birds on my space. I think 6 on a single space would be good, because then I get to choose, and I'll put them at makeout point, since I'm probably not going back there anyway. So that's that. Then we draw our terror card. It feels hopeless. Raise the horror level by 2. And we've spawned birds if there's at least 1 special victim in play, which there is not. So that goes back. And we're back at the top of the order. So I think I can try to save these 2 victims I'm with now this turn. So I'll just use a walk for that. And go to this exit space. And I can move 1 space, which is what I need to accomplish that. So there is that. And I'll save the first guy and bring the horror level down by 1. And I'll lose a health to save the other guy, or girl. And I think I'll take the free guard action for that one. So I think Might still want to do a few things this turn. I'd actually try to go back to the docks and see if there's anything useful there. I used that walk, incidentally. So I'll try using the other walk. Alright, so I can move one. And I'll use a weak attack and try to wipe out the birds that are here. Since I have the axe, I can potentially do up to 3 damage on this turn, so... Let's see. I'll just discard. I won't even re-roll. I'll just discard the close call to turn that into a partial success. So unfortunately I lose another health, but I deal 1 damage plus 2 from the axe, so all 3 birds on that spot go on. Then I'll use a search and see if I can turn up another useful item here. And I can't. Well, actually I can potentially, but it would drive the horror level up into the red, and I don't want that. So I'll take the other option, just have it go up by 1 rather, and lose 2 time. That's unfortunate. And I think finally I'll use a short rest since I did lose some health. And 1 more time, but I do get 1 health back, so I can live with that. Okay, so planning phase, my 0 costs. And the only thing I can buy is a close call, so I might as well grab that. These will all go back. Search is here. Okay, so far so good. We're not doing too bad. For the villain phase, again, no victims getting attacked this turn. That's good. Spawning 3 and 4. We can do nearest utility gets 4 birds, or nearest exit gets 3 birds. I think probably nearest utility getting birds is probably the better option at this point. So I guess they go to the dock, and I'll try to get away from them next turn. So yeah, there we go. All right, terror card. The birds are attacking. Attacking your space and all spaces where birds outnumber victims. Great. Fortunately, that is just my space, so, and I do have 2 guards. So, if I take 4 damage, I'm already down and possibly out. So, I'll see if I can guard against at least some, hopefully all of that. Phew. I'll discard a close call and a focus to turn both of those into successes. So, put those here. So, double success, I ignore all damage. So, at least I have that going for me. And now we are at the panic phase. Nobody panics because nobody got killed. No real upkeep, so I think we're back at the top of the order. And I have a sprint, a focus, and a guard, so I'll be able to do too terribly much this turn. I could maybe try to, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I could get to those 2 on a sprint, potentially. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I could go in either direction to try to pick up some more victims. Let's give that a try on the sprint. I hate to do it, but I'll discard the focus to get a partial success and move 2 spaces here. At least that'll move me to a space with only 1 bird on it. Which way do I want to go? think I'll go this. Actually, if I go this way, I'd land on a space without a bird since these don't directly connect. So, yeah, I'll go 1, 2 for one time. Forgot to reset my time counter there. Alright. So, planning phase. I get these back. I have 5 to purchase with. So I'll grab a distraction for 3. Because that horror level is getting pretty high. 3, and I'll grab the sprint for the other 2. Yeah, so back up. Alright, these go back to the market. Bird phase. So attacks, I don't think we have any happening. Spawning. 3 and 2. So any single space we can put 3 birds on. I think we'll take that option and put that makeout point there. Again, I don't plan to go back there, so that'll work. Then we'll draw the terror card. They're trying to get in. Oh, great. I should not have discarded. I should have used one of those foci, I guess. Alright, so this goes up. I'm in the red now, so I only have 1 die roll for the next turn. Then I use 1 dice to spawn birds, and they go to the nearest utility. So 4 to, I think it can be either the docks or the utility shed from where I am. So we'll put them at the docks, I guess, for birds. Yeah, so there's 2, 3, 4. That's the right number. Okay. Let's see. I can try to grab those guys from the space next to me. If I use a sprint, I could potentially go 1, 2, and 3 if I get a double success on it. Okay, so for this turn, I only have 1 die roll to work with. At first, at least. I will use a distraction and hopefully get my 2 dice back. Fortunately, I do. I gain, for 1 star, I get, that should be on 6. I actually get 1 time, and then this comes down by 1. So I have 2 die rolls for the rest of the turn. Now, with a sprint, I could try to run up and grab these guys and then run them back down to an exit. So I'll give that a try here. So sprint, 2 dice. What do I want to get rid of? My health is okay, so I may end up regretting it, but I'll get rid of the short rest to turn one of these into a success so I can move 2 spaces. So time comes down by 1. Move here and then here. These 2, this couple of victims. So, yeah, I got rid of the short rest and the sprint. Then I'll use a walk to try to get them to the exit. And we have a double success there, so from here, save 1 victim, and I'll get a health back, so I'll back up to full. The other one, I have movement options. I'm going to take another hit because of the clingy victim, so I'll actually just lose that health again. And I could gain it back by the rescue, but I think I'll move 1 space instead, so I'll move here, so I'm not on a space with a bird on it. So that's expended for a time. I have another walk, but I think I'll hang on to it for now. And move on to the planning phase. So I get the focuses back at 5 time. So I'll grab a guard for 2. And I still have 3. I'll grab that distraction again and try to bring the horror level down. Next turn. Alright, so birds attacking. Fortunately, no available targets for them. Birds spawning. We have a 1 and a 6, so we can do 6 birds in any space or 1 bird in my space. I'll do 6 in any space, and I'll pile them onto the increasingly gross and bird dropping covered makeout point. I don't think anybody's going to go up there to make out anytime soon. Yeah. Anyway, let's back up to 2. I just need 2 more victims to get my final ability and to unveil the or summon the 2 special victims. I don't know if I stated this yet. For the special victims, which the end goal of the birds is to save them, depending on the skill level you want, you can pick 1, 2, or 3 special victims to appear, and they appear on the board whenever either all victims are gone from the board or you unlock your special final ability. I picked 2 special victims for this game just to kind of split the difference, I guess. So when I do unlock my final, or perhaps when the other victims get wiped out, we'll have these 2 invincible special victims on the board, who I then have to guide to the exits to win. Anyway, I think we are. I think we're at the bird phase, if I'm not mistaken. So again, no available target. I think we're back at the top of the order actually, since we didn't do a terror card. That's where we are. So we need to draw a terror card now. Feels hopeless. Great. If there's a special victim in play, spawn birds. This goes up by 2, so it actually hits the bloodlust track and summons an event. The event we get is Secret Tunnel, so I can put at any of the utility spaces 1 end of the Secret Tunnel and then use that to move around. That's actually potentially useful, so I'm going to put 1 end at the utility shed since I'm heading up that way anyway. And I guess I'll put the other end at the cabins here. So this actually can potentially help me rescue those last 2 victims I need. Alright, so unfortunately I once again have 1 die roll to work with on this next turn's beginning. Those should have been back on the market. So with that 1 die roll, I will try. I'll try a focus first to bring down the horror level a little, and then I'll use a distraction to try to bring it down more if I get the 1 die back. One of these needs to come out of the cup. Alright, so here goes nothing. So I just lose 2 time on that. Try the other focus first. That's more like it. So we get 1 star. I still lose a time, but this comes down into the 2 dice range. So now I'll use a distraction and see if I can get, hopefully, 2 stars. 1 star plus a. I'm going to discard the weak attack. That could be dangerous, but I'll turn the other one into a star here as well. So I get a double success on the distraction, meaning this comes down another 2. So back where it started at 4, and then I actually gain 2 time back. Then I have a walk and 2 guards. I think I'll use the walk and see if I can make my way at least partly to the utility shed. Alright, so that's a partial success. I'm not going to sacrifice a guard for this walk, so I do lose a time, and I can move 1 space. That's actually okay, because I think I'm going to buy a search so I can grab something from the utility shed before I go through the secret tunnel. So that's expended. Planning phase, I get these back. A walk and a short rest. and again, I wanted to buy, I have 4 time, so I'll grab a search and a sprint with my 4 time. So we're doing okay so far. Some games with the birds, I've just kind of the ones I've done off camera, sometimes I've just kind of gotten overwhelmed right away and just kind of lose off the bat. And others go like this. I have probably about a 50% success rate with this scenario. So we're doing pretty good so far on this one. So no available targets for the birds to attack on their turn here. We will spawn some birds. 1 and 1. So 1 bird on any space of my choosing. Put in that makeout point again. Let's see. Terror card is what we're up to. Run for your life. If there are no victims on the board, discard. All victims that are not in my space must panic. Great. So, let's see. There's 2, 4, 6. I have 6 dice. So I'll just roll all the dice at once and assign them that way. Ooh. Okay. So, first is 4. Basically, there's only one way to go from the utility shed. So that's 1. 6 for one of these. They go here. 4 for the other one. He goes, I guess 4 just, oh no, 4 goes this way. 6 here, so 6 goes this way. 5 goes this way. So 2 of them just traded places. And then 6 for this one. He goes to an exit, so possibly useful there. Alright, so all victims that are not in my space must panic. Then the birds attack. So no bird in my space, fortunately. And I don't see if they only attack victims that are on their own if there's 3 birds or more. So I don't think any of the victims get attacked either. And then we spawn more birds with the movement icon. Again, the birds don't move, so that just leads to them spawning. So 4 and 1. Put 1 bird on the nearest exit. Yeah. I can still potentially take them out with 1 attack from the axe, so not terribly worried. Alright, so I think we're back at the top of the order now. I'm going to walk to the utility shed. Okay, so we get rid of the short rest to turn one of these into a success. So me and this guy will move here. Then I'll use the search and see if I can turn up, I guess it's the lucky rabbit's foot on that space. So, I get that. And what does this do? What does this do again? Lucky rabbit's foot. Discard during the action phase to make a horror roll. For each star, choose one of the following. Gain 2 time, gain 1 health, lower the horror level by 1, or move 1 space. So that could potentially be quite helpful. So, hang on to that. Then I'm going to use the sprint to see if I can go through the tunnel to the cabins. And there's an item there I could try to grab with another search, which I don't have at the moment, but if I stay on that space, I can potentially get it next turn. So I'm going to try sprinting. Actually, if I sprint, if I get a double success on the sprint, I can move to this exit here and actually rescue 2 more victims, which is not going to happen. Partial success. I'm just going to lose the health and yeah, I'll lose 1 health. And the 2 time, I have to lose that much anyway. And I'll go through the tunnel for 1 space. And then my turn is over, which I think it was anyway at that point. So I only have 2 time left to buy things, and I will buy a search. So that's the discard, sorry. And I do get some single, or rather 0 cost actions back, at least. So sprint goes back, search goes back, these go back to the market. Okay, bird phase. I do get an attack because there is a single bird on my space. The birds will actually be attacking the victim that's with me here. But in this scenario, it is specified that you can use guard actions to should be discarded, sorry. You can use guard actions to protect victims in this one, in the terror from above scenario. So I will use a guard to try to save this guy, since it is just 1 bird attacking. And perfect. We reduce the hit by 2. That's enough to save him. Alright, so then we spawn birds. 4 and 3. So yeah, from here, I'm going to put 3 birds on the nearest exit. So that will be here. Okay. Alright, so we're back to the top of the... Nope, we didn't do the terror card yet, sorry. Where are they coming from? Spawn birds, and if 3 or fewer are spawned, spawn again. Great, and we're also running low on terror cards, so 4 and 4. So 4 on either the nearest utility or the... I'm going to put 4 on space I'm on, because I will try to leave it next turn anyway. So, should be the right number. Okay, so we don't need to spawn again, fortunately, since we got 4 on that. So, now it's back to the top. I'm going to search and try to pick up the mysterious pills there. Again, just to have something to work with. So 6, I lose a time, and I can pick up that top item. Mysterious pills during the action phase. You can discard it to lower the terror level by 1 or gain back 2 health. So that could be helpful. Okay, so search is expended. I then am going to walk away from the space I'm on. Oy. I'll discard a focus to turn this into a partial success. So I can move 1 space here. There's another victim on it. These birds are all in the cabin. And I think that's where I'm going to stay for this turn. Yeah, I don't want to sacrifice the rabbit's foot yet, so I have 4 to buy with. Get these 0 costs. Grab a sprint. And grab the 2 close calls for the other 2. So there we go. Alright, so birds attack. This guy, unfortunately, is brown bread, since he has 4 birds on his space. So terror level goes, the bloodlust level goes up, as does the horror level. We're one space away from unlocking the dark power, and we're also a couple of turns away from unlocking the finale, which neither is good. The birds are attacking. Attack in my space and all spaces where the birds outnumber the victims. So fortunately, no attacks occur. Doubly unfortunately, that means that we have to spawn birds and then raise the bloodlust level. So, spawn them. 1 and 5. So, one bird on the nearest victim space. I can live with that, I think. There we go. Okay. So, I think we're back at the top. This is done. Oh, and sorry, we need to freeze the bloodlust, which unlocks the dark power. Bird NATO. During upkeep, if there are 10 or more total birds on my space and adjacent spaces, I lose 3 health. So hopefully I can get around that. However, the bloodlust track is getting pretty high, and we are running low on terror cards, so the finale could be coming soon. So I really need to get these last 2 victims on my card. So I'm going to try sprinting to an exit. Okay, 6 and 4. I'm not even going to reroll. I'm just going to discard a close call to turn the other die into a success. So 2 successes on the sprint. I lose 1 time. And I can move up to 3 spaces. And I think this exit is safer than this one. So I'm going to grab these 2 guys with me. 1 and 2. I'll save 1 for free. And I'll gain back a health for that one. And the other one I take a hit from, since again we got the clingy campers thing going. And I can move up to bank up to 2 spaces to move for this this turn. So that maxes out my card. And the 2 special victims, we'll call them Ricky and Robert. We'll say that Melanie's car stalled out at Makeout Point. That's why she was there. So she called 2 friends, Ricky and Robert, and left messages for them to come pick her up. And they've both arrived at the campsite and are looking around for her now. So, yeah, we'll say that's the story. And they spawn at the 2 furthest utility spaces from me. I think the cabins and the dock, I think, are equally far. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. No, actually, the dock is closer, unfortunately, because it has more birds on it. So, yeah, Ricky is at the docks. Robert's at the utility shed. So I need to somehow get these 2 guys and bring them to an exit. So for the rest of this turn, sorry, I do also have my ultimate ability unlocked. Once per action phase, I can lose a health to deal 2 damage divided as I choose among enemies in my space. That could be helpful for clearing out some of the birds at the docks. You have 2 move spaces I still need to use. I'm actually going to pop these mysterious pills first and gain back 2 health for that. So I back up to full. So that's good. See, I already used the sprint. So what other movement options do I have? This close call is discarded too. Yeah, I have a walk. Yeah, I think I'll use that walk. Well, actually, I still have 2 free movements that I haven't used yet from that last space, filling that last space on my card. So I'll go 1 and 2. I'll move this guy with me here, or girl, or whoever they are. So, I'm still on a space with a bird, unfortunately. Okay, so, I think I will use the walk and try to get to this space here. Cool. Just again discard, not even reroll, but just discard the other close call, so I can move 1 space. And I'll bring these 2 guys with me. Actually, probably better to leave them where they are. They have some protection against the single bird they have on that space. And I really want to get to Ricky here. Again, Ricky and Robert, see if anybody gets that that reference. I'm going to use a weak attack to try to wipe out the 3 birds on my space. So I do take 1 hit myself, but I get 1 damage from the weak attack, 2 damage from the axe. So I do wipe out the 3 birds on the space I'm on. Okay, and I think I'm going to call it for there. So planning phase, I definitely want to sprint, and okay, so grab the guard for 2 and the free ones. So these go back to the market. Okay, so monster phase, birds attack. I don't think they have any viable targets. Again, the special victims can't be attacked or damaged, so even though he's way outnumbered at the docks, Ricky there is fine. Yeah, so we just go to the terror card, of which we only have 2 left. That's a bit worrying. You can't save us, no one can. If there are victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. Oh, great. So now there's even less. The birds are attacking my space and all spaces where victims. So actually, we're fine there. No spaces either where, rather, there are no spaces where victims are outnumbered by birds, except the docks, which again doesn't matter. And there's no birds on my space. And that being said, we do have to spawn birds, and the bloodlust level goes up by 1. Do that first. The horror level comes up. And we spawn birds 4 and 4. So that's 4 birds at the nearest utility. Great. Just turn one of those over. So I'm going to try to sprint through the docks, basically, and pick Ricky up and try to get to an exit. And then, unfortunately, we have the check for the finale, which unveils insurmountable odds. When spawning birds, you must select the higher result for a number of birds to place. And we also have birds spawning twice per turn. They spawn, then attack, then spawn again. So that's wonderful. Yeah, so out of terror cards, unfortunately. Back at the top of the order now. I am going to use my sprint. So I can move 2 spaces. That's, I think, enough for what I want to do. Move to the docks, pick up Ricky, and then we dive into the lake together. So we're going to try to make a swim for it. And what I'd like to do is basically from the lake, go around here, pick up Robert, and then move all of us down to the exit. So this is going to be a tight one, I think. But I might be able to do it. We'll see. I do have a walk. I think I will... Let me focus first while we're in the water here. I'm going to take a breather while we're doggy paddling across the lake. Not great. I'll turn one of those into a success by discarding the other focus. So I gain back, rather I lose one time, but this does come down by one. Then I'll use a walk and try to move at least one more space. Which I fail at, so I'm just going to lose 2 time, unfortunately. And then I'm going to call it a turn. So for planning, I get these back, and I'm going to grab a sprint for the 2 time I have to spend. These all back on the market. Bird phase. Again, we're at the finale, so when spawning birds, I have to pick the higher number for the number of birds to place. Can't choose anymore. So 2 and 1. So 2 birds on any space. I can live with that one. And I'll just flip over this guy at the fire pit here. Then birds attack. Let's see, this guy's okay. There's only 1 bird on his space. We are going to get attacked on my space by 1 bird. And do I want to use a guard or just take the hit? I think I might live to regret this, but I'll just take the hit for now. Yeah. Alright. And then we spawn birds again. 1 and 2 again. So 2 birds at any space. Say, flip the one at makeout point. So that'll work. Alright, so I'm going to try a sprint again as we come back to the top of the order. It's really nothing I want to discard. I guess the one I can live the most without at the moment, potentially, is the weak attack. So I'll discard that to turn one of those into a success. I do lose a time. And we can move 2 spaces. So we're out of the water at the cliff, and we're here. So we need to go to the utility shed to pick up Robert. If I can get here, I'm at least on a safe space with no birds currently on it. So I'll go ahead and use the walk to try to get there. And I don't. So I just lose 2 time. And then I'll use a short rest to gain back some of my health. Okay, so I do lose a time, but I gain back 1 health point. And I'm going to call it there. So planning phase, I get my 0 costs, and I'll buy a sprint. And alright, so bird spawning. 6 birds spawn at the nearest utility. Perfect. So that's the utility shed. Birds attack. I'll use a guard on the space we're on, since there's only 1 bird there. Even a partial success will do it, and we get a double success, so all damage is ignored. And then birds spawn again, so 5 birds at the nearest utility. I wish I had that whistle item that comes with the campsite. Alright, so back to the top. It's used. So I have a sprint, a walk. I'm going to try to sprint to the utility shed. Oy. Discard a focus to turn this into a partial success, so I can move This should be a 6. I can move 2 spaces. 1, 2. And I'm going to try to walk, and I'll try to walk, I guess, back to... I could use the secret tunnel, but there's birds there, so I'll try to walk just south 1 space. And we can accomplish that, at least. So, I think we might be able to make it. Yeah, I just need to get 2 more spaces down here, and we'll be good. So the walk is expanded. Yeah, walk is expanded. Planning phase, 0s. These don't go back yet. I buy first. I'm going to grab a sprint and 2 close calls for the 4th time I have. Keeping it simple, but kind of in the desperate escape phase here. So now these go back. And I have my sprint. Bird spawning. 6 birds on the nearest victim space. So, would that be the special victims or one of the others? I guess it would be the special victims, and unfortunately, that's not good for me, because, again, the special victims can't be damaged, but I can. The birds then attack. And fortunately, I do have a guard left, so let me put that on top. And use it. The birds attack for 6. I can take a hit up to... I'm going to have to discard some stuff here. Discard a focus to turn one of those into a success. And one of the close calls for the other one. So yeah, double success, ignore all damage. So just barely managed to get away from that one. And then they spawn again. So 6 birds on any single space. Put them on the fire pit. Alright. So this is getting tense. I kind of need I think it's kind of do or die at this point, so I'm going to sprint as we come back to the top of the order. I'm going to sprint back to hopefully the exit. And I can make 2 spaces. I think that's what I need. 1, 2. So I'll save Ricky here, get a health back, save Robert because of the clingy campers. I lose that health again, but Melanie has survived the bird terror at Camp Happy Trails. Got a little tense at the end there, but yeah, even with both the dark power and the finale being unveiled, I did it. The only mistake I might have made, the dark power, if there's 10 or more birds in a space, because I was here for a little bit. Let's see, this 6. So I actually should have lost 3 health there while I was on this space because of the dark power. But I don't think that actually affects the, yeah, I still had 1 hit point left. So yeah, that mistake didn't affect the outcome. So, yeah, there we have it. Finally covered Terror from Above. So I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again.